they would leave the meeting knowing an action step.
Okay, so how does this apply to you?
Yes.
And then hopefully the result is an action step. Okay, wonderful. So I'll let you go ahead.
Before we jump in,
Yep.
do you mind if I take the group photo so we can just get it out of the way and I don't forget?
Good idea.
All right, everyone smile. Okay. Oops, that did not do that correctly. Let's try that one more time. All right. Over here. And perfect. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. All right, Liz, I'll let you take it away.
All right. So I am hopefully sharing my screen. And career transitions, redefining your career plans and goals. Okay, how do I move ahead? There we go. This is what we're going to do briefly. I'll show you a slide with types and examples of how this might apply to you. We'll talk about step 1, and then we'll talk about action step 2, and then step 3 is what you do after you start moving towards your path. So transition framed in each of your lives might look like you want to take on a manager role for the first time and supervise people rather than be an independent contributor. Or maybe you're applying for an entirely new job at a new employer. Maybe you're looking to change positions where you are. Maybe you're looking to leave your job and try something absolutely brand new. Maybe you're stepping into a leadership role with or without direct reports, maybe full-time to part-time, part-time to full-time, career to retirement, or maybe you're like me. You're a ladder climber in the past who has now reached the point where they don't want to climb the ladder anymore. So it was a big aha moment that I need to figure out what's next. So hopefully you found a way that this would relate to your life and something you're transitioning. Maybe it's work related, maybe it's not. So the first thing I did was kind of figure out where I am. And I looked big. I turned over every rock beyond my job, which is, what am I doing? Who is my boss? Do I like it? Exploring other possibilities. What do I do in my free time? What about my connections in my life? And so I started thinking ahead because I'm really in the next segment of my life and my career, hitting major changes with my body. And like I said, I've climbed the ladder. I've got the title I want, and I don't want to go any higher. So what does the next 5, 10, 15 years look like as I prepare for retirement and slowing down? So I identified several areas. First of all, job. That's always been where I've had something that I really wanted to achieve or do. And so I didn't have that this year. And ultimately, this action plan is part of my career development. It's figuring out what is next, is my goal for my career. And when it comes to a big part of my life is physical fitness, and I'm struggling. My body is not happy with the fitness things I did in the past. So I'm having to find alternatives. And so it will be knowing what's next for my fitness. And then friends, I didn't lose all my friends, but a lot of my connections, my peers, my women's groups that I belong to, those all went away in COVID. And while we did Zoom and everything, all those connections were about getting ahead in my job. And they were superficial and they were about showing up. And like, I'm sure a lot of the women would have helped me in a time of need. If my car broke down, they would show up and help, but they weren't friends. And I want friends. So that's the other big one, is connecting with women my age, maybe a little older, so I can learn from them, and making friends that will be lifelong for the rest of my career. So that's where I ended up. And so I have an end picture. And so now it's breaking it down and saying, how do I get to each of these places? And so with my career, it's a lot of exploration and finding out what's possible, different ways that I can grow and be challenged. I've always needed to be challenged. I can't do the same thing day in and day out. And fortunately, what I do is different every single day. So it's continuing to spin off things I don't want to do. And I have an awesome boss who will help me do that and bring new things onto my plate that will. It's making connections, making doctor's appointments, trying new exercises. And so that's the next thing I'm doing is I'm exploring yoga is my thing and going to different yoga studios and trying different fitness routines and lots of doctor's appointments. And then when it comes to connections is I'm finding incredible ways like this group here to meet other women. The women I meet here challenge me to think differently. And while it's long distance, it's exposing myself to new experiences. I attended one of these before and didn't take a role. And I committed to present. I'm like, I can do this. And so I will come back and I'll do something different next time. Also, I've joined some women's organizations. There's one called TTN, the Transition Network. And if you're 50 or over, you can join. And it's all about making new friends in person and laying out your retirement. I'm not there yet, but I need to take on interest in things that will be meaningful and fulfill like that purpose and passion of mine once I stop working. So just plotting it all out, giving each an action, a how, and a sequence. And so breaking it down, reviewing it. And then once I start moving along, I change and go. And if things don't work, I stop and I start over and I pivot. If I'm finding something's not working or my next step turned out to be different, then I just course correct and find the detour to where I want to be. Just like reading a book, if you don't like what you're reading, there's no reason to keep moving forward. Just stop and try something else. And when you do get new things like coming on this program and presenting, I will celebrate it. And the new women that I've met here locally that I'm in touch with regularly, I celebrate that and consider them friends. So no matter how small the victory, be sure and recognize it. So that might probably want more than 3 to 5 minutes, but I would love to hear what you all are doing. And if anybody would be willing to go first, I'm trying to figure out, stop sharing. There's the button. Okay, good deal.
Well, maybe just so that we can